Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to CAD 230 in our weekly Zoom classroom meeting. We're going to continue to work on the bench vise. And the bench vise is going to be due December 7th. This week is Thanksgiving week, so we're going to just continue to work on our assembly drawing for module 10, and then we have 11, module 11 is our last, module 11 and module 12. All right, so to start this off, what I did was I modeled the components, and I have the components already set up into a folder here. And so here's the folder where I created all the components for it. And what we're going to do is a bottom-up modeling technique, which means we have the components already drawn, and then we're going to assemble them. If we take a look at the actual vise itself, here's what the bench vise looks like. It's composed of this base, the vise jaw, the base plate, the jaw screw, these bar globes, the screw bars, and then we have these 3 screws and this clamping plate. It's a metric drawing, and we're going to go ahead and get that started. So we're going to start off in Solidworks. And so here's what the completed model will look like. And we're going to start off by saying File, New. And we're going to make an assembly. We're going to say OK. I'm going to switch over the units for that. I guess the units don't matter. I'm going to start off with by dragging and dropping in the bench vise base. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to drag in the other components. And so I'm going to drag in the jaw. The jack screw. The screws. The screw bar. The globe. And the base plate. All right, so now that we have the components, what we're going to do is we're going to start to make these different objects. And you'll see that the first object that I brought in has the letter F on it, which means that it's fixed. It's not going to move. If we wanted to unfix it, what we'd have to do would be to click on it and to float it. And then we could move it and tie it back down to the origin. But for right now, it's fine the way that is. I'm going to go up to under view and I'm going to go to hide show, and I want to show the axes and the temporary axes of the parts. And that way I can use those also to make components too. All right, we're going to start off by mating this component to this component. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by using a with mate. So I'm going to go with mates, and I'm going to go into advanced, and I'm going to say with, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to mate this side here and this side here to this side here and this side here. And then I'll mount those in between there with a with mate. And then what I'll do, I'm going to move this component in here in between it. And I'm going to see if I can mount this one to this one. No. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, so we have a coincident mate and a with mate. And if we green check mark this, we should be able to move this all the way through it. All right, so now that we've been able to put that into proper location, and what we're doing is we're removing certain degrees of freedom from the part. What we're going to do now is we're going to mate with a distance mate this jaw to the front. So we're going to go to mate, and then we're going to select this face and this face. And then we're going to go to advanced, and we're going to go to the distance, and we're going to set up a distance of 2.5 as our maximum. And then our minimum will be 0. Green check mark. Green check mark. Now that will then mate only in between those two components. All right, so far so good. Let's go ahead then and let's go and put on our screw jack. And so we'll go to the mate command, and we will mate this cylindrical feature to this cylindrical feature. And we'll green check mark that. And then I'm going to pull this back. Well, that didn't work exactly the way I thought it would. Let's see what's going on here. There we go. All right, and then we're going to mate this end to, oops, let's clear that out. Did it again. Must have took that last mate. Yeah, it did. So let's go and expand our mates, and let's just go. Well, that one's still okay because it's still concentric. It's just getting glitchy on me, that's all. All right. Let's click off the part. Try this one more time. Mate. This surface. Yes. And this one. Great. And then what we're going to do with this is we're going to change the visibility so that we can see it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go here into our advanced mate. And we should be able to move that. Well, that's one of those days. It's good enough. It does mate to the bottom of it. I was going to try to adjust it a little bit to get it within there, but it's taking too much time. So I'm going to just leave it. All right. So that component is now modeled. And now when we go through and we move the vise, we can see that those components work together. We're going to go ahead and mate the axis for this to the axis for that. Green check mark it. And then we're going to move this down. And then we're going to mate. Let's make a second bar globe, hold control and drag a copy off. And then what we'll do is we'll mate this to this. There we go. There we go. We'll do the same thing on the other end. And I'm going to reverse this. And then I'm going to mate this part to that part. All right. So far, so good. Now, this part's a little tricky because you would think the components are the same distance from the edge, but they're not. So sometimes this will fail. Let's try it. Let's go ahead and mate. Looks like I was mating the axes. That might work better. Let's try it. No. All right, so we have a concentric mate there. And then the trick is to see which holes this lines up with. If it's that one or the other one. So I'm going to guess that it's the other ones. So I'm going to say this one and this one. And we'll see in a second here if this lines up. No, it's one of those days. Let's get rid of that mate. That last one. And let's mate it again. This one. There we go. There we go. Everything's nice and lined up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a copy of that by holding the control key and then dragging another one off there. That way I've done most of the work. Let's mate the next one, clear that. And even though this one's not mated, we will mate it because it will not last by itself. All right, so that's those components. And then we'll go ahead and mate the screw geometry here. Nope, not that way. Let's try it again. There we go. And we'll make the underside there to this face here. And then lastly, we need, and I left one component out. I left out the clamping base. So let's bring that in here. Once I get out of that mating command. There we go. All right. And so let's go ahead and put these pins in. I'm going to say, let's try the long ones first. Yep, that's a little too long. So it's the shorter ones. All right. Let's get rid of that last one. All right, let's take that one out. Yeah, let's flip that. There we go. And let's mate. And then let's copy. Again, holding control. 1, 2, 3. Didn't get my third one. You have to let go of the button on the mouse before you let go of the control key. It's always a little tricky. All right. And lastly, let's clear that out. Let's mate. All right. And then lastly, we're going to mate to the bottom of here. So we're going to come in this to this, and we're going to flip that. Green check mark. And then we're going to go with this to that, and this to that. And we will then mate this to there. Let's copy it. And then we'll add another one. All right. All right, so that's basically how we want to create all the mates for this drawing. We'll save that. And we'll save the documents for those as well. All right, so that completes this video tutorial. I'll post it and we'll put that into the content section. I'm going to stop the recording and open things up for questions.